Hello and welcome back to another Stoke Fan TV podcast episode with myself, Max.
And me, Sam.
And before I introduce our several hundred guests on today's show, I just want to say today's show is once again sponsored by Match Bingo. If you don't know what Match Bingo is, there's a QR code in the corner, there's a link in the description. Go download it, give it a go. There's a card with bingo meets sport and events, and as things get ticked off the card, and there's prizes to be won over 18s and UK only. Go give it a go. Right. Today's show is our final show of the season, hence why we packed in as many guests as we could into one episode. I'm going to go through them. So over in the corner, I can see Tom. Hey up, Tom. Then we go down, we've got Dale. And going down even further, we've got Hoppo. And then in the middle, we've got Pete the Potter on his sofa. In the corner, not being outshone, the main man, Alan May, down in the corner there. And to the right, all the way from sunny Canada, another Al Campbell. We found out today that Al May's middle name is Campbell. So we've sort of got like two Alan Campbells on the show. Anyway, I digress. And so anyway, today's show, end of the season, before we get, if you could like the video, subscribe to the channel, give us plenty of subscriptions because we're going to go on a bit of a summer breather after today's show. I know, I can hear you all crying or cheering, depending on your preference, but we are going on a little bit of a breather. And in today's show, we decided it'd be an apt thing to say, who should Stoke sign this summer? Hence why so many guests, plenty of opinions. And these chaps have all got an opinion on who Stoke should sign. But I'm going to start, as always, with Sam. Because I want his opinion, but B, because he's also dyed his hair blue. Now, I don't know if this is a sign of are you switching allegiances, Sam? I thought it would be red and white.
No, I've gone blue. I think it looks good.
It does, Sam. It does. Right, Sam, who you signing? Go on then, mate. Who's your signature this summer?
One from the Blues, Jamie Vardy.
Ah, right. Okay. Why would you go for Jamie Vardy, Sam?
Because he's one of the best strikers that we've seen in the Premier League for goal scoring record in the past 10 years. And yes, granted, he's not the youngest now, but he knows how to put a good ball in the back of the net. And that's something that Stoke haven't really been very good at recently.
Okay, so you reckon Hoppers? And do you reckon anybody here has got any views on Vardy? Is it, who agrees with Sam? Who thinks Vardy? Al, I can see you got your hand up down in the corner, mate. Just jump on in, pal. This is a conversation.
Yeah, sorry, mate. You know that I sent you the Jamie Vardy text as well as Lionel Messi for a joke, but the Jamie Vardy text was more about the fact that he's finished at Leicester. But I did read after I sent you the text that him and his wife are looking to finish his career abroad. So whether that's true or not, I don't know. And like Max, he's a proven goal scorer. He's a good, he'd be a good first 20 minutes, half an hour, get the lead. Last 20 minutes, if we do need to bring somebody on. And he was always a pain in our side, wasn't he? Let's face it. So yeah, I'm like with Sam. He would be my option if we had the opportunity to get him.
Feel free, anyone, to jump in if you've got any thoughts on any of these players that we're mentioning, by the way.
I think if he asks his wife and he says Miami, Saudi Arabia, or Stoke, I think maybe he might not go for Stoke.
I think Dubai would be the option myself.
Yeah, they need the money. They need the money.
Isn't it the cost? Isn't it the Costa del Stoke? It is today. It's absolutely roasting. Come on, man. The spring we've had. Al Campbell. I can't even say Al Campbell. I'm going to say Canadian Al, right? Okay, that's the way I've got to work. Yeah. Canadian Al. Obviously, I'm guessing, is it warm over in Canada at the minute? What do you think? Would you take Vardy, Al?
I would. I think he's got, at least one season left in him before his knees and everything absolutely fall to pieces. But he brings that anger and that edge to the center role. And I mean, he's proven himself time and time again. I don't know. I think he's probably a pretty decent guy in the dressing room. I mean, he's always seemed to be liked by a lot of the other players at Leicester. So I would take Vardy. I would, I think Sam's got a good pick there. I would take him and bring him in with the experience.
It's a good pick. Can I just do a quick show of hands before we move on to our next contestant? A quick show of hands for who would sign Vardy. Who would sign him? Oh, okay. Sam, you haven't even got your hand up. It was your suggestion, Sam. You can't change your mind now. Right, okay. Well, there's the first one. Stoke fans, let us know in the comments what do you reckon. I'm going to go over to Hoppo in the corner, who's waiting patiently down there. Hoppo, come on, man. If you had to sign one person, who would you think Stoke should be signing this summer, mate?
Well, my rationale is I think we're going to be bogged down by FFP. I think if I'm right, we're in the third cycle now, so it should change after this year, if I've got my facts and figures correct. So we have got to watch the pound, shillings, and pence, shall we say? So we've got to be crafty who we sign. I think a priority. I get what you're saying about striker, but priority is defence. Defence is nowhere near good enough. I think we need somebody. We need another Ashley Phillips, don't we? And somebody to go with him. So I'd be looking for centre half. So I had a little look on who's free agents or who's available, and I thought Luton would be a good place to start. A lot of the players are going to be cherry picked. They've got Mark McGuinness, not a name you'll know like Jamie Vardy, but 6'2", Irish international, got a good pedigree, came from Arsenal. I think we need to be going for the likes of this kind of player. To be honest, I don't think it cost a great deal. For 42 appearances last year for Luton. I know they struggled, but for me, they weren't. It was still a Premiership side. They played really well. So I'd be going for somebody like him. I picked him out really because he might be available. I don't think they'll have to sell, but he's not. Is his appetite to go into League One? He's an international. So I think it'd be ideal somebody like that. So I picked him out. That's my pick and that's my rationale.
That's a good suggestion. Has anyone got any thoughts on that particular player, or indeed defenders in general? What do we think? Al, you've got your hand up. Go on, mate.
Yeah, well, I think Oppo's made a really good point. We do need not only a striker, but we need a decent central midfielder and one or two decent defenders. Having said that, Luton have gone down. They've got some classy little players in their team. Whether they're up for grabs or they'll be looking at keeping them to try and get back up, I don't know. But even that, I can't even think of his name. I think it was at Stoke originally. Alfie, somebody.
Alfie Doughty.
Yeah, Alfie Doughty. I'd have him in the team. I mean, you've only got to look at the game away at Luton Town when they tipped us at the end of the game. Big, strong guys in the box. I don't know, but good point from Oppo, definitely.
There's been a couple of Luton players floated. I think Pete the Potter. Pete, you sent me somebody that you
did.
were thinking, weren't you? I think I agree with this one, Pete. I think
but you're very welcome to take that one if you want. I've got all sorts of players lined up, but no, I think Alan's referring to one of the guys who was a left-sided forward. I didn't know his name was Milanic, but his surname is Ali, L-I, and he scored some beauties at the end of the season. He was one of those few players for Luton who still wanted to give 100%. Irish. So does Johnny Walters have a connection there? He's not massive, but he was brilliant down the left and he can cut in on the right. 25-year-old, so it's just at that ripe age. And that's one that I would definitely look at based on watching Luton quite a lot in the last 4 or 5 weeks. So it's Ali. Does anyone else remember him from
yes.
couple of weeks?
Yeah, excellent choice. Yeah, really good play.
He looked good. He looked sharp, cutting in. As we know, Million's very left-footed, and a lot of our wingers are sort of one-footed. And I noticed he was two-footed. So he was one of my sort of 2 or 3 players that I scribbled down, and obviously Max and I agreed on that. But I've got others, but I've obviously said my piece. But yeah, forward, and I've got a list of defenders as well. But I'll leave it there and let somebody else take a turn now.
Pete, I'll come back to you honestly about your other suggestions. Just a quick point on Ali. Like you said, he was a non-league not that long ago, or National League, I think. or something. He was at Halifax, and then he ended up at Exeter, and he was their top scorer. And then obviously he went to Luton for, I believe, roughly 1.5 mil. And then, like I said, he's banged in 4 goals in his last 5 or 6 appearances. I think it took him a little bit of time to get in, but the one thing I think we should sign him just for his celebration, his double backflip, or whatever, just to be able to be able to pull that out the bag at 90 minutes shows a level of fitness. I think. Right, I'm going to go over to my 2 chaps over here just quickly. I'll come back to you because Tom and Dale, you've been awfully quiet over there, boys. You're biding your time. Dale in particular, Dale, you haven't said a lot. Who have you got lined up for us, Dale? Who would you sign in the summer?
Well, I've got a few names banding around, but it depends on who we've got left in the squad, considering the news that's come out today about, obviously, Shamadou's being wanted by Crystal Palace and Osasuna. So are we potentially going to need a right back? And then we've got, obviously, it's come out about Million Manif's wanted by 5 teams, isn't he? Burnley, Sheffield United, Celtic, and some Belgium teams. So do we need slick at right winger? It's a difficult one. I'm going to go with left back / centre back, and I'm going to go for a loan player from Man City who was at Norwich, I think, last season. Callum Doyle. Who is a very, very attacking left-sided player, but he can also play in centre defence. Highly rated England under 21 international. Possibly get him from Man City on loan. I think a lot of cover down that left side. I think he can play an advanced role as well. So he was on loan. I can't remember who he was on loan for the season before last, but he was massively rated then as well. Like really, really good, talented player.
He's a good. Anyone got any thoughts on that? Anyone got any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I like that.
Oh, sorry, mate.
I like that. I just hope he's better than the last left back we had on loan from Man City. Let's just
Who was that again?
Don't say his name.
Who was that?
Wilson.
I don't know. He was brilliant against Leeds United away.
Of course he was.
I'll tell you what, when Dale said Slash, for a moment I had visions of Guns N' Roses being on the team. You know what I mean?
He'd be better than Wilson, yeah.
Yeah, well, Axl Rose might be able to do a job. Who knows? Though I heard him sing not that long ago, and I think I'll take Wilson Esbrand. Right. Yes. Tom, come on, Tom. Give us your suggestion, mate. And then we'll go to Canadian Al after Tom.
So mine's a bit of a story. I was thinking of 2 max, so I figured out a way that I can get both of the players that I want. So I think Tyrese Dolan on a free from Blackburn is an absolute no-brainer. Right winger, young, played in the England under-20s, so he already knows Pat Nevin very well. Pat Nevin's already managed him there. And most importantly, he's out of contract. And as Oppo says, that's exactly what we need right now. The good news from that is he's a right winger, which means then reluctantly we can then sell Millie, which we can invest that money straight away into signing Ash Phillips. And I think if we can sign Phillips, realistically, Tottenham are going to want 10 mil for him. If we get 10 mil for Millie, straight to Spurs, let's have him. Let's have Phillips, let's have Dolan. We've got a perfect replacement for Millie when eventually he does go in Dolan there. And I'm being really greedy and having 2 players. Sorry, guys.
Hey, mate, that's a great one. Come on, someone jump in on that, because thoughts on that that scenario? Come on.
I think we're more likely to get Nat Phillips, not Ashley Phillips. And I think isn't he at Cardiff still? I think, but I actually thought you said Nat Phillips there. But yeah, I mean, we all want Ashley Phillips, don't we? I'm sure we all agree on that. We all want Ashley back.
100%.
We are going to, unfortunately, we are going to lose players, aren't we? We're going to lose Manu, Jono, or we're going to. It's inevitable because of FFP. And,
I mean,
so yeah, we've got to be sensible about it. We have.
the thing on that, Oppo, is I think I'm okay with losing Millie if we sign somebody like Dolan.
Yeah.
And I think I'm okay with losing Bay because he didn't, and I'm going to get lambasted by everyone for this. I don't think he bought that much to us last season.
No, you're right. I agree.
No,
I think
I'm
a lot
with you.
of fans would agree with that, mate. Yeah,
And if somebody comes in, if a Fulham comes in and says to us, lads, is 7.5 million for Bay? What do you think?
Yeah.
That's not right.
Absolutely.
Take it.
I'll give
You
him a
know
lift
what?
down.
Some excellent points. Go on, sorry, Dale.
I'll just say I'll give him a lift down to Fulham if that happens.
Oh, wow.
I'll come with the
Right.
mate on your back.
I'm moving over to Canadian Al.
Oh boy.
Al, come on, man. You've been sitting there patiently. Who's your choice, mate? Because I think, have you got a Canadian lined up to play for Stoke?
Yeah, I do actually. So I mean, here's the thing. So I'm taking Moisey Bombito. Okay, so he's a center back. He's 6'3". He's actually the fastest player in Europe, and he's a center back. He's an absolute monster of a human, but he is faster than Alphonso Davies in a sprint. So he's faster than Mbappe, and he can defend. So he was born and raised in Quebec, Canada, the province that's predominantly French. Now he's playing in Nice, and they've got him pegged at 10 million. Okay, but here's the thing: he's mentioned many times that his desire is to play in England. Okay. Now, much to what you guys have said, a lot of it's going to depend on who we keep, who we sell, how much we get for them, where we sit with financial fair play. But I think that Robbins, Coates, and Walters want to build a team not to get to mid-table next year, but they want to get a team that can actually carry us through for the next 3 years into promotion, right? So we have to look at, and here's my thing, we look at loans, we look at signings, so on and so forth. And I think getting a core back line together, like I like Wilmot. Don't get me wrong. Rose is gone or going. Those kind of guys. I think we do need a core defense, and the money that we could potentially make from a Manhoof, Junho, those kind of things. We invest that in our defense, get that shored up, because that's been, we've had various weak points over the years, right? Let's not deny it. It's been everywhere on the pitch. But I think our defense has been an absolute shambles. And Phillips coming in this year on loan showed us the gap that we had when we had Rose and
McNally and all that jazz.
Yeah, McNally, Gibson. We could plainly see that a quality center back makes all the difference in the game. Of course, you're obviously adding in Victor, so he's a game changer. But I think a guy like Moisey Bombito, and this is the thing. So I look at Stoke, and a few years ago they held an academy over here in Calgary, Canada, and my son actually went to the academy, but he was deathly ill at the time, so he didn't get chosen to go to Stoke, which is too bad, but that's okay. So the thing is when I look at the Stoke recruitment, they thought outside the box when they brought in the Junhos, right? They went to Korea, they brought in Seiko, they brought from Japan. But I think you think inside an even bigger box, and you start to look at some of these North American players that are not getting noticed. Some are. You look at Alistair Johnson. He's now with Celtic. He's a great defender, great center back. We've got Alphonso Davies. We have Jonathan David playing for Lille. So if we can prize somebody like a Bombito, who's expensive, but he's not there yet, he's a good investment, is my opinion. That if we can hold on to somebody like that for 2 to 3 years, get their value to increase, and maybe if we do get promoted in say 3 years or whatever that time frame is, that's a player that, we can look at selling on if we have to, right? To fund other things, but he's just going to increase in value. It's no different than buying stocks. They're always a risk. You want to buy low and sell high. So I think, investing in a quality player in a center back role that's carrying a decent pedigree with him is good. And like I say, I think that him in a center back role, he'd fit in well with Stoke. He'd fit in very well with the style.
What's his surname again?
Bombito, Bombito.
There you go. I've not heard of him personally, but I get what you're saying, Al, and does anyone want to jump in on this about defenders in general? It makes a good point there. We've had quality centre backs, haven't we? In the not so distant past. You look at Sutar, for example, coming from Australia. Al, you want to say something? Go on, mate. Jump on in, mate. Honestly.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on something there. Not necessarily about that player, but it's a really good point, and we should be looking outside the box for additional players that perhaps other teams aren't looking at. So that's a good point from AC. However, I did read today that the financial fair play is going to open up at Stoke because John Coates has taken sole ownership of the club away from Bet365. Has anybody else read that? Because that could mean a lot to the club in terms of...
Yeah.
Did
there
you?
Was something on that. Yeah, I didn't properly read it, but yeah, I did see something on there.
And I thought, well, that's a positive move for us because we've been stuck for the last 6-7 years, unable really to get any money together to be able to buy anybody. So if that's the case, I'm sure they've got some cash somewhere. Instead of investing it on the infrastructure, which is first class. But as ever, I always believe the team should come before the infrastructure. But hey ho, that's my rhetoric.
Yeah, I mean, interestingly, I don't know whether anyone else watched the John Coates interview.
Yeah,
it was interesting, and he looked tired, he looked stressed, he looked like he needed a break. But I also got the feeling that he's not going to carry on with these stress levels forever. And I think it's going to be a tricky one because you've got John Coates, who I think is getting a little bit impatient for success. But then you've got the club saying, well, we want Robbins to stay with us for 5 years. It's whether John Coates has got that level of stress left in him. So, but I agree with AC. I think we've just got to start taking some gambles. And I know none of us really want to go down the Birmingham Wrexham route, but we've got to take a few risks here, and maybe break a few rules. I don't know. Is that controversial or?
Yeah.
We've got to keep the fans excited, and I like the sound of this Bombito. I'm sure we'll all start working on a song for him all tonight. Bombito, and what rhymes with Bombito? But my parents live near Nice, so I'll ask my dad to go and have a word with the player. Yeah. So I'll go and ask him to say, come back to Stoke, mate.
Just don't forget to mention Costa del Stoke in the wording, Pete. Obviously, mention the high, the highs we've been having for.
I'll send me dad a text later. Yeah, just pop down to Nice. I've been to see Nice play a few times because I go down and see my parents sometimes. It's a cracking stadium, and would I want to come up to Stoke? I don't know, but if they offered me enough money, of course I would.
Yeah. Let's just finish off the whole chat. I know, Pete, you said you maybe have a couple more. Have you got one just quickly? Are you sure you don't want to go into it? Just before we get into the final 5 minutes of discussion, I just want to say today's show has been sponsored by Match Bingo. And if you want to have a go, download the app. There is a QR code in the corner. There's a link in the description. Basically, bingo meets sport, and there's a card, and as events happen throughout the match, then there's prizes to be won. It's over 18s and UK only. Right, okay. Final 5 minute discussion then. So we've spoken about the players that we want to get in. Are we worried that we're going to lose half the squad? Who wants to kick off on this? Are we actually worried? Dale's nodding his head. Pete's shaking his head. Come on, boys, have a chat.
I think it's one of them entities. are we going? We are going to lose players. It's inevitable. Are we going to lose the big players? Probably. Are we going to make some money? Likely. But what's Robin's got up his sleeve? I think that there's something in the plan. I think there's some kind of plan in place down Stoke for this next season. And I think there's going to be a lot of players coming in. There's going to be a lot of quality coming in. And I think it's going to be totally different next season. But I say that every season, and I'm always disappointed. So I'm not changing.
Anyone else got any thoughts on this, Tom?
It wouldn't surprise me if, Dale's just said, that Robbins picks a couple of ex-Coventry players. They've got some good players in their squad.
There
Do
you think
has
Thomas
been some names bandied around, aren't there?
Do you think they'd go after Asante or somebody for attack?
Possibly.
Yeah. Eccles.
Josh Eccles in the midfielder, and Hadji Wright was bandied around as well.
Right.
Can't head at the ball, can he? Did you see it the other night? Yeah.
With the team that we've got, you've got to ask yourself the question: if we're saying about we don't want to lose these players, we don't want to lose this. If these players in this team are really that special, we wouldn't finish 18th in the Championship.
I think that's controversial.
I'm putting that on the shelf because Vic is the second coming of Jesus. But the rest of the team, if a good bid comes in for any single one of them players, I don't care who it is, it can be Million, can be Bay, can be Bergs, can be Chamadou, it can be anyone in that team. If a good bid comes in and we can reinvest that money wisely with Mark Robbins' steer, do it.
Yeah. I think the main issue what we've had over last season was the fact we had 3 coaches.
Yeah.
And they all went, well, maybe 4, but they all went to, they all went and had different game plans.
Yeah.
And they chose different players for different roles. And at one time they were putting players in the wrong roles. And that's demoralising. You're a left winger and they stick you on the right. You've got no chance. And vice versa.
Yeah, as a player, I mean, you see these managers constantly coming through the door, and it's like a rummage sale, right? You don't know what you're going to get, right? So, yeah, I think Robbins has really shortened things up, as far as confidence from the dressing room. But like you say, Al, that's going to be a big thing going forward. Yeah,
right.
One manager. That's all we want for the whole year. At least.
Sam, you're very quiet up in the corner there, mate. Is it the blue hair? We're only joking, mate. You can feel free to speak.
I was going to mention about, I know earlier in the show, Tom mentioned about possibly selling Million Manoof and spending all the money and getting Phillips. I don't think that Stoke are going to spend a lot of money on one player. And I think it would be wise if we were to get, say, £10 million for someone. I don't know who would be worth £10 million in the Stoke team at the minute, but if we were to get that sort of money, I wouldn't want to spend it all on one player. I think that's going to need to be 3 or 4 players because Stoke are going to have to sign a lot more players than they're going to need to sell this season. So that's what I'd do. I think we've had some realistic ones mentioned tonight. I don't think that Ashley Phillips is a realistic one.
Unless there's a deal to be done with Million. Possibly. But, buying one good quality player sometimes is better than buying 2 half-hearted, poor players, which is what we've had over the last 6 or 7 years in a mix.
Also, I was one after signing as Kevin Bimmer.
Did you say Kevin Rimmer?
On Rimmer's brother.
Didn't we have him from Spurs? Rimmer.
Yeah. Rimmer, where's the key to my Bimmer?
He wasn't very good, was he?
In Bula, should we go on?
Don't start me off, Max. Don't start me off. Me and Oppo could sit there for over about 30 pints discussing the poor players we've had over the last 5 years.
We haven't got enough hours in the day. Never mind in the show. Listen, everybody, we're coming right up to the end of the show now. We've got about a minute left. So I think we're going to wrap it up. I just wanted to say on behalf of myself and Sam, a huge thank you to everyone who's tuned in this season. A huge thank you to every single one of our guests who've come and joined us on the show. There's several hundred of them on the show today, as you can see. Honestly, we couldn't have done it without you. I hope you've enjoyed it. Let us know in the comments if you've been enjoying the show. Don't forget to give us a like and subscribe while you're there. We've got less than a minute left. We'll see if we can actually do this. We've never tried this with as many people. This is going to go terribly wrong, but it's goodbye from me. Who's going next?
Goodbye from me.
It's goodbye from me.
Bye from me.
It's all descended into chaos, and it's goodbye from them. We'll see you
Goodbye.
all. Oh, there's Dale and Tom. Honestly.
Go on, Stoke.
Oh,
Come on,
there we
Stoke.
go. Go on, Stoke. Right, okay. We'll see you all in another episode of Stoke Fan TV. Whenever that will be, we're not quite sure yet. Obviously, when Stoke sign all these players in the summer that we've spoken about, still banking on Messi coming over from wherever he is over in America. Listen to that's Al's tip. Okay,
Yeah.
right, and we will see you all soon. We will see you all soon on another podcast episode of Stoke Fan TV. Go on, Stoke.